Pressley, can I stand up? Is that okay? I'm Laura Pressley, and I'm running for City Council Place 2. I've been in Austin 23 years, and I live in Allendale, the Allendale neighborhood. And I grew up in Fort Worth. My dad was a cattle auctioneer at the stockyards, and grew up that your word is your bond, and what you say is the truth. And so we always, as kids, we got in trouble if we didn't tell the truth. We were told, if you tell the truth, you're not going to get in trouble no matter what you did. So that's always that's a nice background to have. I spent 17 years in the semiconductor industry here in town. I was an engineer and a business manager. And right now there's nobody on the city council that has a business background and a technology background. And I think we need at least one to handle a lot of the hard questions and the business questions. I don't like the subsidies that we've been spending right now on Apple. They spent $8 million. There's so many programs we have that we don't need to be given $8 million of our tax dollars to Apple Corporation, who has $100 billion in the bank. It makes no sense to me. We gave $13 million to the Formula One track. There are a lot of programs in Austin that could use that money. Okay, we gave $5.7 million to expand the red line from Leander to downtown, because they think we have a lot of traffic downtown on the weeknights. On the weekend nights, I don't see that. So I have a really hard time with how we're spending our money, and there's so many better ways we can do it. I also spent time on the nonprofit boards of Safe Place, the Battered Women's Shelter. I am a survivor of domestic violence, and I was on their board for 5 years, and I also spent 3 years on the Women's Advocacy Project Board of Directors. So I have that kind of background of using the social services. I was in the shelter in Houston, and they saved my life. And I went there with me and my daughter. She was 2 years old. And then I came here to graduate school to go to school as a single mom. So I've been here. And I've been homeless, I've been in a shelter, and I have had jobs in the semiconductor industry. Now I have my own small business. And I want to reference the City Council because I think there's so many good things that the council can do. And I see so many, I've testified to the council for about the last year and a half to 2 years, and I see citizens group come up, I see neighborhood groups come up, I see environmental groups come up, I see you guys come up, I see all these people. And really what they're asking the council to do, can you stop hurting us? Can you please just stop hurting us with what you're doing? And that's the common theme that I see. People come up there. Imagine if you had a council member that stood up for you, all right, instead of the developers or these big businesses. Okay? Imagine that. Some people might could just stay home and wouldn't have to be up there all the time. Okay, that's what your council is supposed to do. You're not supposed to be up there doing it. The rate increases of the Austin Energy. Hundreds of people showed up to speak until midnight. I was one of them. What if we had someone on the council that did that for us and we wouldn't have to do it? How important is that? It's so critical. So that's why I'm here. And I'd love to hear your questions and see what I can do.
Well, we have some formal questions, and one of them is, would you support a dedicated annual source of funding for sidewalks?
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, like I said, I live in Allendale, and in our neighborhood is the deaf and blind facility. And I'll tell you what, I see people constantly trying to get through construction that they've done, and they don't even respect the sidewalks. The sidewalks we do have, when they get tore up, even in that area of town, you would think they'd be more sensitive to it. I'm absolutely supportive. You know, we drove by and we just saw how many bus stops on the way here that don't have access. It's ridiculous. We spend $5.7, I'm going to say it again, $5.7 million to move people from Leander to downtown on Friday and Saturday night so they can go downtown in the bars, and we've got this issue? It makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. Where's the priority? The priorities aren't right. Something's messed up. Something is just messed up here.
Another question is, what would you do to ensure that there's more affordable, accessible, integrated housing in the Austin area? We've had a problem recently with supported housing dominating the discussion and getting a lot of funds that were meant to be provided for affordable housing for everyone who is low income sort of siphoned off, and now there's a an additional incentive to provide affordable housing, supportive housing, because you get higher scores in your allocation if you provide supported housing. So if you're a Chodo or a small developer that's wanting to provide affordable housing to very low income people, unless you're providing supported housing, you're not going to get city dollars because it's skewed toward supported housing. So we have a great deal of concern toward that because we don't believe that services should be tied to housing. We believe that people should receive services and supports that they need, and they should get affordable housing that they need, but the two shouldn't be tied together.
They should be decoupled.
Right.
They should be, and I totally agree with that. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I haven't been in city government my whole career. I've actually worked, at a job, but I swear I look at these things that are occurring, and maybe I don't understand the history, and give me leeway for that one, but it doesn't make sense to me why these are not decoupled. I don't understand it. This bond package is coming up for the 2012 bond package, and I believe the affordable housing is a high priority. I think traffic is a big issue. I think sidewalks are a big issue, and I think affordable housing. Those are my priorities. And if you look at what's the different projects that are proposed in this bond development, the biggest one is let's expand the police department headquarters and the 911 services. Okay, crime has gone down I don't know if you've seen the reports, about 7 to 10% over the last 2 years. Okay, we've done good. Let's stop spending and wasting our money on a new police headquarters. $250 million. Imagine how much we could do with that. We're okay with the police department. Okay, they maybe need some more training and all of this, but not $250 million worth for a new facility. Let's invest that in our people and not in that waste.
One last formal question, and then we'll take questions from the audience. We have worked a great deal on Capital Metro to make it accessible. It was one of the first 100% lift-equipped bus companies in the country, and it was lift-equipped before the ADA required it because of our activism. One of the things that we're working on now, though, is to make the inventory of bus stops more accessible. You see a lot of locations around town where bus stops are located in ditches on Burnett Road in North Lamar. And we want to know if candidates would support more aggressive funding for bus stop accessibility.
Absolutely. And I go back again to all these subsidies. We just gave $8 million to Apple. They have $100 billion in the bank. What on earth are we thinking? This is ridiculous. And, we were at a forum 2 nights ago in East Austin, and I feel sorry my candidate's not here to defend himself on this, but he said this. He said, well, these companies come in here and want to invest in our community. We have to help them with the risk because they could lose money. And I was like, I have a small business. Who's making sure that I'm not losing money in my investment? I think this is our biggest difference between me and my opponent. Is I don't believe in this. I think if you're going to come to Austin and you're going to invest your money, you better do the market research. You better do you better understand your customer base before you come here. The city of Austin is not going to give you these dollars. You're going to make $15 million, and we're going to give you $4 million in subsidies, so now you can make $19 million. No, that's not it. We need so much of this infrastructure for our sidewalks. I've also had people tell me, I think there's enough art downtown. I think we need some sidewalks. Can we get some sidewalks instead of so much art? Let's focus on what's really critical. Again, I go back to who on the city council is fighting for the people. They're fighting for these developers. They're fighting for these big companies. Who's fighting for us? It's just not right. So I absolutely. I think this is critical. I mean, again, $5.7 million to get us from Leander to downtown. Why can't we fix the bus stops with that money? It's Capital Metro's money.
Right.
Like you said, we don't need a new police station. They just built one not too long ago right by my house over there in Springdale and Airport, and it's a large one. Look at all the money they put right there.
Exactly. Thank you, ma'am. It's not right.
It's not
They've
right.
got a blank check.
I don't
They have a
think we need
blank
it.
check, and it's not right. The priorities are skewed. They're just messed up. I don't get it.
I'd rather have them bring the electric down for us, for people that can afford it.
Yes, ma'am.
'Cause I have a
I guess if you want me to tell you my
disabled in
story
house.
about Austin Energy, I'll tell you that one. And you may have some questions
Well,
about
I
that.
think Sparky has a question. I think your question is, why can't we have the train go south?
Yeah, that makes sense right now. If you want to get to your house, you have to go through the family.
His dad's house.
Take the one out all the way south, and then you have to roll to its house in the street.
5 miles. Old San Antonio Road. Yeah.
I think it's outrageous. That's all I can say. We have so much money that we are wasting. We should not be doing what we're doing.
I have nicknamed our train the train to nowhere.
I know it. There's nobody on it.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I know
Do
it.
you know how we can get to go someplace else?
Oh my. You know, I think if I were to spend the money, if I had the choice, I would do it on the bus system and not the train.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And you know, I'll tell you one thing, the bus union, they endorsed me. The Capital Metro Union endorsed us. They did. And I know my opponent's the Capital Metro chair of the board, and that was a big issue. but they're frustrated. They know what the answers are, and they can't do it. And it's a leadership issue.
What's your position on the single neighborhoods districts versus?
Yeah, I think the 10-1 is an absolute requirement. You have to do the 10 to get an African-American seat and 2 to 3 Hispanic seats. And I've been supporting the 10-1, and I've testified on that many times. And my opponent, he didn't decide he was 10-1 until a couple of weeks ago when a lot of citizen groups told him, your opponent, me, is 10-1, you better get on board. And so he did because of the pressure. And our campaign is putting a lot of pressure on him right now. He's saying a lot of things that people have wanted him to say for a while. So competition's good. Competition is good. But I've been 10-1 for a long time. It's an absolute requirement.
You know, it isn't what you say that counts, it's what you really do.
That's right. Actions. When I was growing up, I learned very early on to ignore words and to watch actions.
Yes.
And that's the key of all human behavior. You watch the actions. Don't listen to pretty words. You watch what people do, because that's who they are. That's who they are.
I remember the past. What I did then, I'm going to do it again.
That's right.
You know, so you have
That's
to
right.
remember what I did back then.
That's right.